Hare Krishna. We welcome you back to our series of lesser known stories of Mahabharata, and we are now starting episode 8. In episode 8, we are concentrating on the dynasty of Daityas and Danavas, how they take into earth. In fact, as I told in the beginning, that Adi Parva of Mahabharata, which we are now discussing, generally talks about all dynasties, how they took birth in the material world. So in this context, we will now start with the, the dynasty of Daityas, Danavas, Rakshasas, and we'll deal with those stories actually. Let us start with our prayer first. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanang Namaskritam Naran Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswating Vyasang Tato Jayo Mudiraye. Om Ajnanotimirandhasya Jnananjano Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ramo 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So naturally, the question will come in your mind, why I chose to talk about the Daitya dynasty. Previously, in one of the series of episodes, I talked about the Naga dynasty, how Naga dynasty came in the earth and what they did as a part of Mahabharata. Daityas and Danavas also play a very important role in Mahabharata. If we remember that there are many occasions where there has been fight between Daityas and Pandavas. Like for instance, if you remember that Lord Krishna killed Shishupal, Bhima killed Jarasandha. They were actually Daityas. And also, we also know that there are Rakshasi Hidimba and Bhima's son Ghatotkacha. He actually turned the complete fate of Mahabharata Yudh, because he appeared in a time when it was very required, and he destroyed the arrow which was kept by Karna to kill Arjun actually. So Daitya, Danav, Rakshas, they are important part of Mahabharata, and it is important for us to know how they came into being. As I told you, that Adi Parva is mostly describing how different dynasties came. So like for instance, if we go in little detail, we know that Duryodhana was none other than the Kali Yuga himself. Kali Yuga's first incarnation came as Duryodhana actually. So let's get back to the story of Daitya, how Daityas came and what were their contribution in this world. So let's continue. As usual, I will like to put a disclaimer that this description what I am telling is based on Kashidasi Mahabharat, which was written sometimes in 1922. It was published in Bengali. I got a copy of that with me, and I referred different stories from there. Also, I would like to reiterate, as I told in every episode, that my target is not to talk about all Mahabharata. My target is to pick up the important but lesser known stories and describe that. So these are the two disclaimers I will have to put up, and then I will have to go forward. Hare Krishna. So before going into detail, I would like to introduce and explain two terms, Sura and Asura. So Suras are the people who are in line with the objective of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They take shelter of Lord, and they consider anything bad is because of their own karma, and they pray to God they can get away from there, and for anything good they give credit to Bhagavan. But Asuras are the people who are completely opposite. They want to take credit of everything whatever they lay hand on, and they want to enjoy the property of Lord without paying price for that. So they are Asuras. So is it looking familiar? Are you saying these properties are available in today's world also? Maybe. Let's get into it. The picture what I have given is actually of Ravanas, who is a prominent Asura category. Now we know that Asura, we know Mahishasura was Asura, Narakasura was Asura, but actually if we see that Asura has got three prominent species or three prominent categories. They were the Daityas, Danavas and Rakshasas, and they were completely different. They came in different part of the world, different part of the time, because Daityas mostly came in Satyajug, Danavas mostly came in Rakshasas came in Treta Yuga, and Danavas mostly came in the, they rule mostly in the Dwapar Yuga. But they were available from Satyajug to Dwapar Yuga, and therefore it is important for us to know where are they today. So let's get into the next slide and understand what are the qualities difference, what are the proprietorship difference between the Suras and the Asuras. So we must first try to understand what are the quality or property between the Suras and Asuras. So in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, slok 8 to 12, Lord Krishna has described the Daivi Gunas or divine qualities. And in chapter 14, he has described the demoniac nature of the people. So what are those? As Lord Krishna has described, that the Devatas or the divine qualities are mostly fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge. They do charity, they'll have lot of self-control, they do performance of sacrifice, they study Vedas, they do austerity, and they lead a simplistic life. They believe in non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, they adopt renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion, and freedom from covetousness. They are gentle in nature, modest in nature, steady determination, they have lot of vigor, they have forgiveness capability, fortitude, cleanliness, freedom from envy, and the passion for the honor, these transcendental qualities. Now these people are actually in the Devata category, and they always consider Lord as the supreme personality of Godhead, and they take his shelter for every work. Whereas in the Danavar, Asuric category people are, there are many, but a few has been mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. They are arrogance, extremely arrogant. They are proud. Pride is one of the quality we find. Anger, conceit, harsh, ignorance, a very low type of qualities belongs to the demoniac nature. Now why we are discussing this? Because you will say that we do not see Devatas, we do not see Asuras, we do not see Danavas today. Where are they? Actually, if we go to the Satyajug, it was easy. We could have understood this is a Devata, this is a Danav, this is a Daitya, this is a Manusha. But in Dwapar Yug or in Treta Yug, we were also seen that when Sri Ramchandra was there, Rakshas were prominently, we could understand. Dwapar Yug, it became little difficult because people like Duryodhan, Dushashan, they had lot of demoniac qualities, but they were appearing like devatas or appearing like good human beings. So there was a mixture. But in Kali Yug, it is almost impossible to recognize because all of us have got two qualities, the Daivi Guna and the Asuric Guna, all are inside us, and there is always a fight. It is important, it is as Srila Prabhupada said in his purport, that there are two dogs inside us, one bad dog and another one is good dog. Which dog we are feeding, we go for that kind of nature we develop actually. So when we say that the Devatas and Daityas and the Asuras, where are they? They are actually inside us. We need to identify them. So now let us go to the next slide. How these Daityas took birth. While describing the birth of the demons or Daityas, we need to go back to the history of Satyajug in the few kalpas of the beginning of Satyajug. As we see there, Sauti Muni was telling to Janmenjay. Janmenjay was son of Parikshit Maharaj, and the Mahabharata was first told by Sauti Muni to Janmenjay. Now, here he told that Brahma created 6 sons from his mind. Those 6 sons were Marichi, Angira, Atri, and Krotu. They were the most knowledgeable sons, these 4 sons, and there were 2 more rishis, Pulaho and Pulasto. Now, these 6 rishis are actually the ancestors of all human beings. So, if somebody asks us from where human being came, they came from 6 rishis actually. Now, this Marichi was one of the most learned rishi of Brahma's son, and he was famous in all over all universes. Now he had a son. His name was Kashyap Rishi. This Kashyap Rishi was also very great sage with lot of mystic power. Now Brahma had another son, Daksha Prajapati. Now Daksha Prajapati had 13 daughters. Now he got married all 13 daughters to Kashyap Muni. Now those 13 daughters, if we want to name them, they are Aditi, Kapila, Danu, Kodru, Muni, Krodha, Danayu, Singhika, Kala, Diti, and Pradha. Also we count Vishwa and Binata in that list, and that completes 13 actually. We have discussed in the previous episode when we discussed about the Nag history, how Kadru gave birth of the Nagas. We also discussed how Binata gave birth to Garur, and also he gave birth to Arun, who became the charioteer of Suryadev. We discussed that subject. Now, these daughters, everyone had their family. Like Aditi, she gave birth to the Devatas. Indra and all Devatas and Vivashwan, they were son of Aditi. Now they are also equally learned and equally qualified like Kashyap Muni himself. Now Vivaswan was the one of the most prominent of them, and from Vivaswan we know that Vaivasat Munu and Jom, the Dharamraj, took birth from him actually. Now let's come to the history of the Daityas, which is our topic of discussion. So Aditi was the mother of the Daityas, and there was one more daughter, mother of the Aditya or Devatas, and there was one more daughter. Her name was Diti. Now Diti was by design or by her property, she was little Tomogun Asrita, and she wanted to get the son in a time which was not appropriate. We have discussed this in one of the episode, but I will go in little detail, because Diti wanted to get a son in the twilight of the day. Twilight of the day is not the right time to do any sexual consummation, and therefore the Kashyap Rishi did not agree to that. But when Diti was very adamant to do that, then he realized this must be the work of Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna himself, so he gave in. And at that time, as we have told the story earlier, that the 2 brothers, the 2 Dwarpal of Vaikuntha, Jai and Vijay, was cursed, and they were supposed to take birth in the material world. So Lord Shiva was looking for a womb where he can put these 2 souls, and therefore these 2 souls were put in the womb of Diti, and therefore the first Daitya took birth Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakshipu. Now that was the Daitya. Now these Daityas, when they took birth, by design they were always a big enemy of the all Devatas, and they were equally powerful, maybe more powerful than Devatas, and they were always trying to challenge the Bhagavan Vishnu or Lord Krishna himself. They wanted to individually prove that they are the supreme. Now from the Hiranyakshipu, he had a son. His son was Panchajan, and Panchajan, they had their son was in that same dynasty. We find Prahlad Maharaj took birth. Although Prahlad Maharaj was son of Hiranyakshipu, but he was actually a devotee, one of the 12 Mahajans. Now we also find in the same dynasty one more great king took birth. His name was Birochan. Now Birochan and Kumbho and Nikumbho, they were very well looking and handsome. And Birochan's son became the Bali Maharaj, whose story I have discussed into the 12 Mahajan series actually. So you see, the Daityas were also equal to like Devatas only their qualities were different. And in Daitya Kul also, people like Bali Maharaj or people like Prahlad took birth. Similarly, the Kashyap had one more wife. Her name was Donu. And from Donu, the children who took birth, they were called Danavas actually. So as I was telling in the previous slide, we take it very lightly, Daitya, Danav, Rakshas, Asur. It is not like that, because there are very clear distinction, and there are very clear understanding of their nature and the work actually. Similarly, if we go little down the lane, then we will find that the Rishi Pulastro, he actually went to. So Pulastro's son was Vishrasava, and Vishrasava gave birth to Kuber, who is actually one of the devotee of Lord, and also Vishrasava got married to the Kaikeshi Rakshasi and gave birth to Ravan, Kumbhakarna and Vibhishan. So Rakshas Kul, we had great warrior like Ravan, Kumbhakarna, Vibhishan, and they came in Treta. In fact, Ravan came in Satyajug, but he stayed back till Treta. In the Jugas of the Danavas, we get great Danavas like Jarasandha and Shishupal. They were in Dapar. And in the Daityas, we find that the Hiranyakshipu, Hiranyak, Prahlad Maharaj, Bali Maharaj and their brothers, they were all the Daityas actually. So it is very clear, Daitya, Danav and Rakshas are actually three different species. And although we take it very loosely, but they culminatively they call Asuras actually. So we will end our episode here, and we have in this episode we have described how the Devatas and the Asuras all came into this material world, and why Daityas are so typical. So probably in the next episode we will talk of few more dynasties which are important for us to understand the perspective of Mahabharata. So I hope you have liked this episode. I will try to write a little history in the description, and in case you want to know something more, please write an email to me or make a comment on this video. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.